Hello everyone and welcome to my new video. Unless you have been living under a rock for the last couple of months, I will tell you nothing shocking when I say that several of the Sword and Shield alternate art cards have seen a more than decent price increase over the last couple of months. But now it looks like these cards are stabilizing while some are even declining in value again. This makes a lot of collectors and especially investors wonder if this is the best time to sell off them Sword and Shield alternate art cards or not. Now this is a question that I will try to answer for you in this video, but don't forget, as always, nothing in this video should be considered as financial or investment advice. Always be sure to do your own research before investing. In this video we will take a closer look at a couple of the most valuable Sword and Shield alternate art cards from this moment. And of course this means that we especially have to take a look at the cards that are a part of the Sword and Shield set EvolvingSkies. Now at first, obviously, we have to start with the Umbreon VMAX alternate art, also known as the Moonbreon. This card is without any doubt one of the most beautiful modern Pokemon cards we have seen over the last couple of years, but at the exact same time it is also one of the most expensive ones. This having said, when we take a closer look at today's price, we see that the value actually came down a bit. Between the middle of October of 2023 and let's say the end of April or the very beginning of May, we've seen this card trending upwards with a very big spike in value starting somewhere in the second week of February. Now from the second week of May we started to see a stagnation of the value, and now we see that the value is actually declining. Honestly, however, I think this is a very beautiful card and it actually deserves a place in really every Pokemon collection. From the moment the card gets above the $1,000 price mark, it feels like some kind of psychological boundary has been crossed. Also, it speaks for itself that, however, this card was very hard to pull. The population report states that there are, at the moment of recording this video, not less than 15,284 graded copies of this card. 11,520 of those copies are actually in a PSA 10. However, you always have to take into consideration the incredible demand for this card. This is still a pretty big pop report that will, of course, definitely have an impact on the value of this card. Now, it's my expectation that this card could actually drop further in the coming months after the incredible fast and huge uptick that it has seen. However, I also do believe that there will be a lot of demand for this card also in the future, because it actually is and will always stay one of the very best arts from the Sword and Shield era. I wouldn't be surprised if this card on the long run will actually reach the $1,000 price mark again and will probably even become a lot more valuable. A second alternate art card that has seen a very big uptick in price is the Sylveon VMAX from EvolvingSkies. I mean, just look at the chart. That's pretty impressive. Between the 12th and the 18th of March, we saw the value from this card sitting at the $130 price point. From that moment, it has seen a pretty impressive price increase, which took the value of the card all the way up to, at the moment of recording this video, almost $225. If you take a look at recent sales, we even see that several cards have been sold already for a price that's flirting with the $300 price point. So chances are that on the short term, this card will see a much higher price, but this on one condition. The current hype for Sword and Shield sets and of course alternate arts will have to continue. If we see the hype and of course also the willing to invest at these higher prices settle down, then obviously the price of even the most beautiful and sought after cards from the Sword and Shield era could come crashing down. Every time when you see a very rapid price increase on a chart from any potential investment that you are planning to make, it is always a good idea to handle with caution. Chances are that the hype and the demand for these cards will continue and that we will see much higher prices, but always keep in mind that nothing goes up in a straight way and there are actually retraces possible. A bit less explosive, but still a more than decent price increase we saw for the Glaceon VMAX alternate art. Between the 12th and the 18th of March, we saw a market price for this card of about $151. From that moment, also this card started to appreciate in price all the way up to a market price of $236 at the moment of recording this video. Now, a similar trend we can see for the Leafeon VMAX alternate art, which is actually my absolute favorite alternate art card from not only EvolvingSkies, but the entire Sword and Shield era. I've always been a big fan of Leafeon and Leafeon cards, and to me this art is just wow. It looks absolutely stunning. Now it took a bit longer to appreciate in price for this card. As you can see on the chart, between the 19th and the 25th of March, the market value for this card was $161, and from that moment on it appreciated in price until it stagnated for a very short amount of time around the $203. Now from that moment on it shot up to a value of $315 to shortly after that continue its way up to a current market price of around $343. For all the VMAX alternate art evolutions, well, besides the Umbreon, we see that at the moment of making this video there is not any sign of a significant decline in value. This having said, as I've mentioned before, it brings in a pretty big extra risk if you invest at current market prices. I would even go one step further and say that if you previously bought more copies of a certain Sword and Shield alternate art card that has seen a very big price increase over the last couple of months, it could be actually wise to secure some profits. Don't be afraid to take some money off the table at the moment that you have a decent return on your investment. A lot of Pokemon investors, especially in single cards or slabs, hold on to them investments for way too long, which causes a lot of the profits that they could have locked in to disappear. Obviously, this is something that you will always want to prevent, but that speaks for itself. Before we continue with the rest of this video, do you enjoy this type of content? Then please consider giving this video a like, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel for a lot more Pokemon investing related content. That would be very much appreciated. Now with that out of the way, let's continue with the rest of this video. Obviously, besides the Evolutions VMAX alternate art cards, there are also some other extremely popular alternate arts from the Sword and Shield era that have seen a rather big price increase. For these cards, we can actually see that they are settling down a bit. Let's for example look at the Rayquaza VMAX alternate art from, of course, EvolvingSkies. Between the 12th and the 18th of March, this card had an average market value of about $248. The following months, the market value rose all the way up to an impressive $464 at the moment of making this video. Now, I will probably make a bold statement here, but if we take a look at the population report from the Rayquaza VMAX alternate art, we can see a total of 10,122 graded copies. 7,523 of those copies got the perfect PSA 10 grade. If this card, and obviously I understand that it's Rayquaza, but that aside, can reach a market value of $464, then why wouldn't that be possible for, let's say, the Leafeon VMAX alternate art, which has a PSA pop at the moment of making this video from 7,077 total copies, from which 5,346 got the PSA 10 grade. And let's also take a look at the Glaceon VMAX alternate art again. The total PSA pop report at the moment of recording this video from this card is 6,870, from which 5,192 copies received the PSA 10 grade. However, a lot of Pokemon investors have the feeling that the alternate art cards are set for a price decrease in the near future. The market value from, for example, the Rayquaza VMAX is making it clear that there could also still be a lot of room for future growth. So also this is something that you have to keep in the back of your head. So to end this video, what is now the final conclusion? Should you sell your Sword and Shield alternate art investments, or could it actually be still a decent moment to invest in them if you haven't done so already? Now obviously I don't have a crystal ball, and nothing I say in this video should be considered as financial advice or investment advice, but this having said, I have two final thoughts that I want to share with you. At first, I think there will always be a very big demand for a lot of the Sword and Shield alternate art cards. The art on them is absolutely beautiful, and it stands out amongst all of the other cards that we have seen in recent years. It's for sure a fact that the PSA population reports on these cards are pretty huge, and this could influence the price in a negative way, but as long as the demand for a card is big enough, and I know this is a pretty bold statement to make, it doesn't really matter how big that population report exactly is. Now, on the other hand, as I've mentioned before in this video already, if you are able to make a decent return on investment in such a short period of time as what happened with the cards that I've mentioned in this video, and I even didn't mention them all because also think about the Gengar VMAX alternate art and the Giratina alternate art, but it is always a good idea to lock in some profits that you were able to realize. This way you could continue your investment journey with the rest of the copies that you own, maybe even risk-free. Do you only own one copy of a certain alternate art card? Well, then of course it's totally up to you to decide if you would feel best keeping the card in your collection or investment portfolio, or if it actually reached a price point that makes it worth it for you to sell that card and with that close your full position on that investment. Now, I hope this video was useful to you. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like and also consider subscribing to my channel for a lot more Pokemon investing related content. For now, thank you so much for watching, and I would love to see you again in my next video. Bye bye.